of organic farming, frame policies, and design and implementing quality assurance systems for organic farm produce and organic and biological inputs. As director of National Center of Organic Farming, Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Yadav spearheaded the organic farming movement in the country and abroad, and has specifically contributed to the development of regulatory system of organic and biological inputs, organic certification system, organic package of practices, and organic crop management protocols, and implementation of various government systems. I'm going to skip a few paragraphs, and then I would now tell him what he's doing currently. Currently, Dr. Yadav is associated with INM division, Ministry of Agriculture, and is involved with policy planning process of the Government of India, including the harmonization of various standards, new standards, and product certification systems. We have two local panelists. Dr. Meera Angmubhutia is a food microbiologist. She is currently working as guest faculty at the Department of Microbiology in Sikkim University. Her interest lies on indigenous communities and their food systems and role of microbes in agriculture. She has researched on a wide range of bacterial profiles in local Sikkimese food and its functionality in traditionally preserving these foods. And then we have Ms. Chiring Angmubhutia, who is a farmer, and it will be very interesting to talk to her. She's a farmer in Sikkim. She's also an artist and General Secretary of Sikkim Farmers Producers Organization. She has been volunteering in the Sikkim Organic Mission since 2003 and hopes to inspire a new generation of young people to join farming and contribute to the state's future. I would straight away go to Dr. Verma. When Mr. P.D. Rai was giving a very brief introduction of you, madam, he did mention that you did a little bit of work. We do not know the extent of your work, but we would like to know from you what has been your observation of Sikkim Organic Mission. Where are we right now? Are we making the kind of progress we needed to, or just tell us your thoughts about Sikkim Organic Mission.
First of all, thank you very much for having me at the panel. Thank you, Mr. Rai, and thank you, Jeevanji, for this very interesting discussion, and very, as you rightly said, mesmerized to hear Vandana ma'am and her, conversation, her expression, her knowledge is amazing, and we learn so much, out of her own work. Well, connecting the dot from what she rightly said, that about the organic farming, because it provides you kind of a health security, it provides you kind of a biodiversity security, it relates to climate and climate change and climate resilience. Well, the study that we have done recently in Sikkim, for which we connected with Mr. Rai and Mr. Gurung and a couple of other people, pertains to a study that we are doing, a big work that we are doing is a flagship study at WRI on doubling farmers' income. And using the agroecological approaches, and organic farming is supposed to be one of the very strong agroecological approach which is being used by farmers. And as rightly said by Madam Shiva, that we have to look into the economics of it definitely, and besides looking at the ecological part of it, because it provides diversity, it provides resilience, as already said. So using the organic farming sort of an approach, definitely farmers reduce the cost of production. And Sikkim is so happened that it was naturally also, I would say, organic, and everybody knows about it. And that's why it was much easier to scale up this activity and cover the entire state in the domain of organic farming, which was actually going on some way or the other, but to scale up, intensify was very much required. So this study we have done is a part of our twin objective of our doubling farmers' income study in India. First of all, we want to apply, as Madam Shiva rightly said, lots of invisibles, externalities come out on account of organic farming, a lot of other contributions being made besides producing the crop in terms of conservation of water, soil conservation, nitrogen fixation, also building resilience for climate change, greenhouse gas control, and carbon sequestration. So many things come out of organic farming. So we want to actually use a kind of a calculus across a site to demonstrate what is the real contribution of agriculture sector, not just the crops which come out as a visible contribution, but many invisibles also we need to capture. And as you rightly mentioned, I happen to be part of 2-3 very interesting exercises happened across the globe to work out the economics of ecosystems and biodiversity and capture these benefits in some quantifiable terms and qualitative terms as well. So you want to apply this calculus to agriculture sector to say this is the total contribution of agriculture. The second was to actually capture, because we can't apply it is a 1.5 year study, we can't apply calculus across the country. So picking up influential interventions being made across the country to demonstrate how they've transformed the system, the agricultural production system. And organic farming was one of them, and the first pick definitely was Sikkim. I had a chance to work with Mr. Rai, and of course, Mr. Ramola is here, part of the IMI initiative, which is going on to build a case of green bonus across Himalayan states. So I will just quickly present, our learnings from this work in terms of a SWOT, because I just can't say in few conclusive terms, this is what Sikkim's organic state status is, So we went across the state to consult not many set of stakeholders which have been there, starting from, of course, the government bodies, Organic Mission of Sikkim, Agriculture Department, certification agencies, marketing agencies, horticulture department, animal husbandry, and also cooperatives, private business owners, civil societies, FPOs, farmers. And interacting with them, I'll just quickly highlight a few points in terms of SWOT of Sikkim Organic State. So we did strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis. I'll just quickly present few which will give you a panoramic view of Sikkim state in terms of its organic, farming status. So if you look at the strength of this before I come to this SWOT, let me just quickly mention, many of us met when IMI organized this One Health Mission seminar 1.5 months ago. And what Dr. Shiva was saying was actually a one health approach, where we try to integrate, the plants, animals, the shared ecosystem, look at the multidisciplinary kind of interventions. That's what is organic farming is also all about. So if we look at the strength aspect of the organic farming in Sikkim, we found that here the cost of production, cost of using fertilizers is very low, because the consumption was very low. Almost we found 12 kg per hectare versus national average of 90 kg per hectare, and that too organic inputs were used for strengthening the crops, for pesticide effects as well. So it is low, and inputs like so-called fertilizers were absent. All the natural things were used inputs were used to raise the quality of crops. Then, as Dr. Shiva rightly said, there were lots of health co-benefits coming out of Organic Mission of Sikkim. They're very high in terms of the crops are quite high in terms of quality and nutrient richness. So this is what this is the strength of the organic farming in Sikkim. As rightly began the whole program with the address of honorable leader. So we had very huge political support for organic farming for Sikkimese farmers, and this mission continued. We were very surprised and happy to see lots of young entrepreneurs coming up to promote organic farming across, not just across the state, across country, and people want to take it forward across the globe as well. But some very enterprising ones who would like to use modern tools of GIS and take into consideration a lot of data sets and try to get the real picture of organic farming in the state. Then, of course, certification is done by the state, not by individuals, which is very costly affair otherwise. And approximately, we got the figure for 2016 when the state was declared as organic, 76,169 hectares were actually organically certified. Then we found there's a lot of passion, emotion amongst the farmers, attachment towards the organic farming cultivation, and where the chemical fertilizer has not been used for almost haven't been heard about much. But at the same time, couple of weaknesses we also we get to know about in terms of compulsory imposition from the government, which people think is a top-down policy approach, other than co-production solution, because many of them. Of course, the state is a Sikkim organic state, but still, to sell the produce, you have to very clearly, certify, make it very, very apparent that this is a Sikkim, produce and it is organic in nature. We found market linkages to be very weak because, of course, as Dr. Shiva rightly mentioned, if you walk across, you will find the local market, the farmer markets happening outside villages, but you don't find these markets so-called so strengthened and independently and distinctly existing in the common market like Lal Bazaar and Siliguri market, where you merge with the normal markets where the inorganic produce also come and the distinction is being made. So that is, that's what is lacking, and that's why they're not getting much premium price on that. Many people were using producing organic produce for self-consumption mostly. So the marketable surplus is much less than what it should have been, which can fetch you much more returns.
Right. Madam,
yeah.
I'll come back to you on these figures later.
Sure.
We would just like to now go to Dr. Ashok Yadav. So you've been working in this field from a position where you can directly make a lot of impacts in terms of policies, implementations, and also you've been keen observer of how organic farming is progressing in the country. First, very quick response from you in terms of the Madam Bandana Shiva told us that Sikkim has shown the way. But in reality, in today's India, how much of Sikkim's organic success is having a positive impact in the country? We know that Prime Minister Modi has been talking about Sikkim success story everywhere. But in reality, as someone who has been working in this field, what kind of impact do you see in the country in terms of organic farming? How is Sikkim playing the role there, sir?
Dr. Yadav, you are on mute. Sorry. To start with, first my thanks to Mr. P.D. Rai for involving me again into the Sikkim organic journey, because I still remember the moment and the day in the Chintan Bhavan on that day when the Prime Minister declared it as organic. After that, Sikkim was taken up as a model example of organic farming, model example of the large areas under organic certification. Many states and the many areas they tried. Like Meghalaya was one of the states which initially pursued this dream, but somehow they could not follow it further because of the many reasons. One of the major reasons in majority of the areas is the agriculture what we follow today, which is backed by so much of the research, which is backed by so much of the industry, and then here really put some or the other blockades that you feel it very difficult to go on that way. So maybe we have not been able to create another example of Sikkim, but Sikkim still continues to remain a great source of inspiration for the organic lobby. And not only this way, other way also, whenever there is a discussion to the policy planning process, there is always a talk about the Sikkim organic. We always think how Sikkim was having a different situation. It was more or less near to organic or default organic. So much easier to convert Sikkim into the organic. But other areas where the utilization of the inputs is almost at the level of say 100 kg to 200 kg. In those areas, converting even a hectare of the land becomes very difficult. But still, we have a lot of areas. We have been focusing it. We are bringing a lot of policy planning and schemes also. And recently, you may be seeing that Prime Minister has also been advocating natural farming. Let us also promote the natural farming. And what we think that yes, natural farming can also be an ideal opportunity, although organic is also very close to natural for us. Organic is an umbrella subject, which natural farming is also a part of it. But natural farming is also being promoted as an alternative, because some of the promoters have also said that natural farming practices which have recently been developed by many farmers, many proponents, they have the potential to keep the productivity level intact and does not require much of the time to achieve the optimum levels. So if we can replicate all these successes onto the ground, I think Sikkim model can still continues to be a great inspiration to many.
So are you saying that Sikkim is going to be the only fully organic state in the country for many years to come? Other states will only partially replicate, or are you also looking at the possibility of turning other states into fully organic?
If you ask from my heart, I always
No, as
entire country should be organic. But the way we are going, yes, yeah. Sikkim is likely to remain only organic state for many years to come.
Right.
Maybe possible that some areas, some districts may convert. Like I can give you an example of Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh has recently worked a lot to convert their one district into the entire organic. Now the Dantewada district is likely to be declared as certified organic maybe in a few months' time from now. But if you see the total area of that district is equivalent to the Sikkim, whole of Sikkim.
Right.
So Sikkim cannot be compared because of its size, because of its geographical location, because of so many other parameters. But I hope Sikkim size areas will be coming up in the country in different parts of the state. And most likely we may have to see maybe 8 or 10 Sikkims in the country. May not be entire state, but at 8 to 10 Sikkim.
Yeah, I think that's an achievable goal for the time being. Yes. I will now go to Dr. Meera Bhutia. Give us your scholar view of Sikkim Organic Farming Mission. As in scholar, what has been your observation?
Hello, namaskar. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
You're audible.
So actually, I've made a presentation. Can I present that?
Sure.
So you have, I think, disabled the screen sharing. Can you do that?
So whoever is the person responsible, please allow her to share her screen, please.
Dr. Meera, you can try now.
I hope it's visible now.
Yes, it is. It is. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Make it full screen and go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Let me turn on my.
Okay. Now, okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to maximize this. Just give me some moment, please. Well, good afternoon to all the respected dignitaries present here and to all the viewers. To start with my introduction, I am Mirangmu Denjangpa, and I work at the Department of Microbiology, Sikkim University. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today on this special day, which is called as Sikkim Organic Day. So being a microbiologist, I just wanted to put a little insight into the role of the microorganisms, specifically in this organic farming for the sustainable agriculture. So agriculture plays an essential part in maintaining and growing the economy. So in the year 1951, this Rockefeller Center Mexican Agriculture Program, actually, they published a paper on the world food problems that explicitly conceived the issue of the global food scarcity in terms of the hunger due to overpopulation. And this led to this green revolution that converted the agriculture into the industrial, and this has adopted the use of the chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and especially to increase the agricultural productivity or to alleviate the hunger. So this causes the, in the long term, it has caused the pollution of both the biotic and the abiotic systems of the soil, leading to the fertility destructions of the microbes and the fertility of the soils. And that led to the concern for the sustainability of the agriculture. So it has led threat to due to the climatic changes as well, that enhance the consistent accumulation of the greenhouse gas emission, as the use of the chemical fertilizers this enhances the accumulation of these greenhouse gases, and then leading to the changes in the climatic conditions. So the whole world shall be vulnerable to this, due to the climatic change, and especially India, because India is highly dependent on the agriculture. So there was a need for the sustainable agriculture, and that is how the organic farming started. So this organic sustainability of agriculture, it mainly composed of these three aspects: economic, environmental, and social. So this organic farming uses the natural resources to meet the person, meet the needs without harming the future potential. So organic farming is considered as the most effective tool for attaining the sustainable agro system. And in the present scenario, this organic farming has attained a lot of attention due to its necessity and the demands. So the main aims of the organic farming are to produce the high quality of food in a sufficient quantity, to encourage the involvement of the microorganisms, which I would be talking about, which is special of my field and very, very important, especially in the organic farming. Soil, flora, and fauna, plants and animals within the biological cycles, to maintain or enhance the fertility of the soils, to prevent the loss of the genetic diversity, to establish the proper uses of the water and the resources, and to minimize the all sorts of pollution, or to maximize the use of the renewable resources. So this coronavirus pandemic, as we all know, that the coronavirus pandemic has taken many lives all around the world, and it has completely or drastically changed the way we see our lives. So there is a common phrase that we are what we eat, and so hence comes the food that we eat is directly linked to our fitness. So this pandemic has caused a massive rethinking in what we eat, where we get our food, and how the food is produced, stored, or prepared. So that led to the need for the healthier lifestyles, as the people have become more aware of the healthier lifestyles, and they look for this organic food, and I think all of you might get might be amazed to know that 70% of our immune system, it directly resides in our intestine, and this chronic diseases like diabetes or this inflammatory bowel syndrome, this has been shown to link to the gut. So there is something called as a gut brain axis, or gut lung axis, or gut skin axis. So whatever we eat and the microbes that are present in our gut, it is directly linked to the diseases. So microorganisms that are there in our gut plays a crucial role for the metabolism, for the production of a different kind of the vitamins, and for the production of serotonins as well. So these are the neurotransmitters. So just like that, in soil also, the soil also requires different kind of microorganisms, good microorganisms for their for a healthy for the fertility of the soils, or for the growth, proper growth of the plants. So these organisms, which are called as a good, you can say the good microorganisms, which is beneficial to us, display a symbiotic relationships. And the interesting fact is that the microorganisms, these are malleable, which means that these microorganisms, be it, I'm just trying to link, just be it within our gut or be it in the soil, it is malleable, or it can be modified by inoculating the good number of microorganisms in the soil. So we all know that our government has done a tremendous job. As Sikkim, they adopted the former governance has adopted this organic farming in the year 2003, and finally it has paid off that the Sikkim, our state, has won a prestigious award, which is called a Future Policy Gold Award by the UN FAO in the year 2018. So our Sikkim is a small state which lies in the northeastern part of India. And it's the first state. We are very proud to say that this is the first state in India to have officially adopted this organic farming. So coming to the organic fertilizers that are used in all around the world, and in Sikkim, according to the information that I have got, this manure, that is cow dung manure, and the vermicompost, these two, as well as this poultry litter, these two are these trees are mainly used as organic fertilizers. There are other organic fertilizers as well, like green manure that is made from the green plants, compost, sapropel, bone meal, wood ash, and so on. So this was the report that was generated from the Agriculture Department of Sikkim, where I've found that these three macronutrients, this is called as macronutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So these three macronutrients are very important for the growth of the plants. And we have found that this farmyard manure, which are commonly used here in Sikkim, and vermicompost. These are the sources, the different sources of the organic farming, the manures that are used, and the composition of the these three elements that are found in the products, especially the organic products. And here you can see here the farmyard manure. Using the farmyard manure, the products had, the contributed nitrogen composition was found to be 0.93%, phosphorus was 0.36, potassium was 0.92. And if we compare this different sources of the organic fertilizers with the composition of the different the elements or the macronutrients, we found that this rape seed cake, this has mainly lead to the highest concentration of these three elements with 4.8, 0.0, and 1.3. So just like that, this micronutrients, these are the micronutrients, which is also, these are important for the plant growth. And here, there's a, we found varieties or different results where this farmyard manure, the iron contents of the products using this farmyard manure contributed to the 2600 mg per kg of this iron in the food. So just like that, in using this poultry manure, iron content was found to be 1400. Pig manure was also 1200. And here this copper content, the composition of the copper in the products using compost manure was found to be highest with 450. So as per my knowledge, I found out that this two, farmyard manure and vermicompost, are mainly used for the organic farming in Sikkim. So this farmyard manure uses a mixture of the decomposed dung and the urine of the animals, farm animals especially, along with the litter and the leftover material from the raw pieces of fodder fed to the cattle. So vermicomposting, here for the vermicomposting, certain species of earthworms, the commonly called as red wigglers, are used, and this earthworms actually hydrolyzes the complex organic materials, and then it gives out through the digestive system. It gives out a granular form that is called as cocoons, which is known as a vermicompost. So this vermicompost improves the biological, chemical, and the physical properties of the soil. So challenges facing the organic farming. So although I think there are many diseases that may be prevalent in the organic farming, but especially in Sikkim, we have got these four cash crops, four major cash crops. These are paddy, cardamom, maize, and ginger. So there are some diseases that has been affected our cash crops. So it is the blast of rice, raki, in the paddy field, fukre disease in the large cardamom, turkey leaf blight in the maize, and rhizobium in the fusarium bean. So coming to the importance of microbiology in sustainable agriculture. So use of microbial tools to sustainably increase the agricultural production has received an attention from the researchers, industries, and the policymakers. So over the decades, market access and the development of the microbial products have been accelerated by the recent advances in plant-associated microbiome science, which is a burning topic in the field of research. Pressure from the consumers and the policymakers for increasing crop productivity and reducing the use of agrochemicals. So rising threats of biotic and abiotic stresses, loss of efficacy of some agrochemicals and plant breeding, the calls for agriculture to contribute towards mitigating the climatic change. So as I said, right, that the microbes plays an important role in the various forms, from the fertility of the soil to the nutrition. It provides nutrition to the plants, and it even produces some organisms or some microbes that are present in the soil, has the ability to produce the antibiotics that may suppress the plant pathogens, pests, and weeds. The soil microflora mainly depends on the biotic as well as the abiotic conditions, the texture of the soil, the structure, the pH of the soil. So these are all the abiotic factors that depends actually, that leads to the different kind of the soil microflora. So the flora includes both eukaryotic, so which includes fungi, yeast, and protozoa, and algae, and prokaryotic microorganisms. This includes bacteria, actinomycetes, and archaea. So this soil enrichment may be through the degradation of the hydrolysis of the organic nitrogen, which is done by the especially the rhizobium. It is called as the rhizobium microbes that are present. This has the ability to fix the nitrogen in the air. So some of these microbes have the enzyme which is called as the urease enzyme. So it can degrade this nitrogen into the simpler form. So the type and the amount of the organic material that enters the soil ecosystem, it mainly determines the soil microbial status. So plant versus soil microbiome, as I said, in the field of organic farming, this is very, very important, and it's a burning topic. Research, lots of research are underway, and with the advancement of the technology, that now we can even cultivate or culture the, which is called as the, more in a scientific way, if I say, the uncultivable organisms. So the whole genera of the organisms can be analyzed using this advanced technology. So unlike conventional technology where only the culturable organisms, was able to retrieve. So here, if we see here, soil is the main reservoir of the widespread microbial community. So there are varieties of the microorganisms which are present in the soil, and these are vital for the various kind of the functions, and these are quite complex. So it is very important to understand the behavior of these microbial communities. So like humans, these microbes, they also communicate. So through, which is in a scientific term, which is called as the quorum sensing. So that is very, very important. This microbe communicate with the plants, with the soil. So that is how they share a symbiotic relationship, and that is how, and it leads to the, the growth, the better growth of the plant. The scientists and the policymakers, they are now aware of the importance of the soil biodiversity and its beneficial side to human society and ecosystem. So if you see here a picture here, that a picture of a plant where the root section, at the ground, below the ground level, there are lots of Rhizosphere Microbiome, which plays a very crucial role for the, providing the nutrients to the plants. And the above the ground level, this part or this portion is called as phyllosphere. So here also the lots of
Okay.
studies are. Yes.
Dr. Mira, for the lack of time that we've been given, I think we can kind of, you can do this presentation, the remaining presentation later also, I guess, because the slides are all ready, right? I think there's a time.
I thought it was my turn. That's okay. I didn't know about it.
Because there's a time limit to our discussion. Very educative, but I'm sorry, I needed to intervene to let a few others to share their thoughts. Do keep your slides with you. We will get some time to record it later.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I thought it was my turn, so I just started.
No. No issues.
Okay.
I think, yeah, there are other people waiting, so I would also go to them. Now, Miss Chiring Ongmo, we are kind of dying to know the level of enthusiasm among the local progressive farmers right now. Do you think the present government did pick the ball and ran with it, or has there been some amount of fizzling out of organic farming enthusiasm? Do you still feel that you are headed to a particular direction, or are you kind of losing direction? Do take us through your observations. Where are you right now as organic farmers in Sikkim? Ms. Chiring Ongmo? The floor is yours.
She might be having some network problem. I don't see her there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then do I have to go to another panelist for now, or?
Yeah, you can, I think.
Okay. Dr. Madhu Burma, we listened to Mira Ongmo, Dr. Mira Ongmo recently, and she talked about biopesticides and those kinds of things which are made locally. If you're listening, Dr. Madhu Burma, where is Sikkim in terms of producing this biopesticides? As I was writing a book a few years ago, one of the issues the farmers did face was the lack of locally made biopesticides.
Well, we also, found similar kind of outcomes from farmers because of, I would say, the major sort of deficiency of biopesticides came because they're not enough available for farmers for use. Came because of a typical policy intervention being made in 1996, the green felling ban came into being, and the grazing ban also was put in the system. So farmers used to have large number of livestock with them, and they used to graze in these areas. Of course, we also did not find any particular scientific reason of putting a ban on grazing, because now farmers have to source the fodder from outside market, and they have to put in a cost for that. Otherwise, it was coming free of charge, and the same animals who were actually used for producing dung and urine was also used for producing biopesticides, were also used at the later end for meat purposes and like that. So this is one of the reasons that we found that not enough biopesticides are available, and whatever they could do, and using their own sources, using the waste from the crops, and like that they could make use of it. This is one of the reasons I found to be lack of biopesticides over there, and the ultimate impact that we could find. See, there's a small trigger which leads to a small intervention which leads to, or a change leads to larger impact in the system. Because of this, and since this affects the cost part of it,
Exactly.
and sometimes some places we found that at the one end the cost is increasing because they have to source inputs from outside. Secondly, they're not getting the premium price on organic produce that they're making, unless until the picked up from farmers market with a premium price can still be fetched. But if they go to the common market like Lal Bazaar and Siliguri market, the prices are crashed and they sell it at the price at which other inorganic products are being sold. This is a kind of things are happening because of that, and they were really wondering if this can be introduced, and because of this, people have sold their livestock because there's not much grazing land available, and cost was getting high. And another policy intervention of the government to provide from each family one government job. As Dr. Vandana, she was rightly saying, there should be interest of people in agriculture, and there has to be interest to be inculcated amongst the young youth population to take up agriculture, because you are promoting state as organic state, or you require manpower. And because of that shift in availability of other jobs, people are moving to that. There's a lack of farm labor as well. So, the small trigger which happened in the system led to overall cascading impact of many more things. So that's what is happening currently, which needs to be definitely taken care of and make the organic model to be very, very strengthened. Of course, it does provide huge amount of, which is successful in the sense of sustainable agriculture, because it provides lots of other ecological benefits as well. But lots of policy interventions, institutional interventions still to be complemented to provide it. And biopesticide is one of the reasons why not being used to produce, to the greater extent, the desired quantity of output.
Right. I can feel how much you have to tell, because you've done some studies on this, and the time limit is always there. Now I'm going back to Ms. Chiring. I heard she's connected back to our discussion. So I don't know whether you heard my question earlier, Ms. Chiring Ong Mubutia. I want to know the level of enthusiasm among the local farmers right now. Are you still going great in terms of organic farming, or have you lost direction? Has the present government done enough to keep the organic fire burning in the state? What's your mood, or your fellow farmers' mood right now?
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to meet with all these great people, and to be able to connect with people again, when it comes to organic farming and all, because it's been quite some time that nothing new was happening in this organic mission or something, So I'm really happy, especially to see Vandana ma'am and, Dr. Verma, Dr. Meera, and all this, right now my mind is flooded with all the information. So I'm really very happy, to be a part of this program. And as you, said, the present scenario of organic farming in Sikkim right now, I mean, it's really sad sometimes, as a farmer or as a member of this organic, farming community, I feel that there's something lacking, because right now we have to understand that whatever we are doing, it's not just for ourselves, not for my particular one small community, or this village, that village, or this government, or that government. So we have to unite our thinking because you have to start think globally. So once you do that, then only you will be able to understand organic farming. That's my, idea. Right now, the situation is like this. To be very open, I'm a very straightforward person, so without any filtration, I'm going to say the present scenario. The thing is that we are always labeled as the supporters of the previous government. So this is very sad, because we are talking about organic farming, which has nothing to do with this political issues anywhere. We are talking about the health of people, about your state, Sikkim, because it's above all political parties. You talk about Sikkim, the development of Sikkim, the health of Sikkim. There is between these two governments, there is in between we are public, and this everybody forgets about this public and the development in a good sense. That we talk about development in a technical field or this and that, but development of like health wise, because when it comes to organic farming, it's the health of the people. So please focus on this. Please do not label this or that, because it's a very good initiative started by our previous government. Like Mr. Pawan Kumar Chamni took like a lot of interest, and a lot of effort was put into this by all the even the government officers. They have already retired, and their contribution, I mean, it's a lot of work to achieve such a big goal in a small state like a Sikkim.
Exactly.
And they are forgetting about this spot.
Yeah.
So
I can feel that you're speaking your heart out. That does kind of give us a glimpse into what a lot of progressive farmers are thinking right now. I would like to take your question and go to Dr. Yadav and ask this question. Sir, we were just talking about this huge organic farming success in Sikkim and how that is being in a sense, flaunting is not the right word. That was being brandished as one of the modern day farming successes in the country. Just when country was applauding the state, now state seems to be losing the organic farming enthusiasm. So as someone at that level of the policy making and implementation agencies, what would your suggestion to the state government be in terms of revitalizing the organic farming process, sir?
Very good question. First thing, whenever we start a movement, initially things go very well and we build up that movement. But ultimately, agriculture is a business. Farmers are the businessmen. If we are moving ahead on the path of organic, and if we wanted to maintain the momentum, we have to make an economical case in this. Ultimately, business survives only on the economics. So organic agriculture in Sikkim has also to survive on the economics of organic agriculture, economics of the organic farmer. Now, there are so many limitations. Size is small. Commodities are very limited. Even the volumes which you take it out is also not that big that you can find out a big market scope outside the Sikkim, except take the example of ginger or little bit of turmeric. Large cardamom, okay, you have a big place to play. Other commodities, you have very little quantity. Now, within that also, how you can bring your farmers into the value chain and develop a model of market which may be there in the bigger states who are having many commodities, big volumes, may not suit you. Sikkim has specific situations. You have two ways. One is the brand Sikkim Organic. You can encash it. And I think tourism, you are already doing it. Another is the Sikkim Organic products. Now you have to have some different approach that how farmers can organize themselves, create institutions, create the capability to deal with the commodities by themselves, or whether it is a local market or a out of the state market. If the controlling power is within the hands of the farmer or the farmer's organization, then you can succeed. But if you allow them to go into the same marketing scenario where the middlemen are there, then naturally the situation may be difficult. Now, when we started doing this organic into the northeastern region, because I have been a special passion and the place in my heart for the northeastern region, especially with the Sikkim also. So in Government of India, a new scheme was started in 1516, known as Mission Organic Value Chain, where our thinking was that farmers, those who are already converted to organic, they should be converted to the farmer producer organizations or companies. They create their own value chains, have their own processing facilities, and they themselves have the financial potential to buy it from the farmers, process it, and then sell it into the market. Somehow we have not been able to achieve that goal in full. Scheme is there, efforts are also going on, and we are thinking that we need to do a lot more to bring the farmers in value chain mode, to bring the farmers in the farmer producer organizations with much better capital by which they can process the commodities and can directly link with the markets. I think there is a lot of successes there. You know, as my previous speakers also said, there are so many other factors also that why Sikkim is losing on the agricultural front. You know, tourism has attracted a lot of people from agriculture to the tourism sector. Similarly, you know, increased number of employment into the other sectors have also taken out the people from the organic. So it's not that only the efforts have diluted it, but it's only the other factors have also. So keeping all these scenarios into the mind, we have to work together. We have to find out the ways and means in this altered scenario with limited space, limited volumes, limited people working into the agriculture, and very narrow market base with us. What we can do. I think what I can suggest, you know, tourism is one of the major potential area. If you concentrate on that, market commodities for the tourists, maybe in good attractive packing at a reasonably good prices, I think farmers can get a much better value of that.
Yeah, we cannot gainsay the multivariate factors, and of course tourism is one of them that's distracting people from organic farming. But also if you look at it from other side, organic farming is also boosting the tourism branding, you know, so they're very interconnected. A lot of homestays are selling their organic produce and organic food and so on. So sir, one last question for you. So the former government was trying to get the compensation that Sikkim was forfeiting the fertilizer subsidy by virtue of becoming the fully organic state. So wouldn't infusing the monetary compensation into the Sikkim or agriculture system kind of give government more sort of zeal to take the organic farming more seriously?
I think Sikkim government has been asking for this. Now the present government is also asking for this, that Sikkim must be compensated. Now it is up to the government. I cannot comment on this particular aspect too much.
Right.
Yes, it's something is to be support. Yes. States and the areas are not getting the benefit of the fertilizer subsidy, which is very huge. I think they need to be compensated, one or the but these are the issues which are much bigger, and the government has to take their stand and the decision.
Right. Thank you, sir. Now, Mira Angmu Bhutia, Dr. Angmu, I just have a quick question for you. You did talk about your studies about biopesticides. How effective are these locally made biopesticides? Because a lot of farmers were saying, at least to me personally, that they are not very effective. The ones that they try to make were not as effective as the chemical pesticides. So what does your study say?
Okay, so I think according to my knowledge, I feel that the fertilizers, the biofertilizers that
The
have
biopesticides.
biopesticides that have been used by the farmers. There is a lot of things, the factors, like especially the soil, the quality of the soil. These are the abiotic factors. So quality of the soil and the type of the fertilizers that you're talking about, the biopesticides, the type of the biopesticides also. So that is why I feel it is very, very important, as I've said, that a lot of research are being done on this. So if from Sikkim, those whoever they're doing the organic farming, if we can get the sample from their farming land, and then if we get the soil sample, and if we do the analysis, if we get this platform to do it, surely we'll come with the solution for it.
It's very heartening to see local scholars doing studies on biopesticides and so on. Sikkim is a young state and a very young organics farming state. So I think you have a big role to play there for sure. And you are probably the first microbiologist from Sikkim to have studied this subject. So please keep at it. We've got lots of hopes on you and your team for sure. So I would now go to Ms. Chiringong Mutia before I go to Dr. Madhu. There is now, as I was kind of talking to a few people who do studies on organic farming in Sikkim, there is a sort of divide among elite organic farmers versus the not very elite organic farmers. So some are able to leverage the Sikkim brand and sell the organic produce at a premium rate, and they have established their outlets. They also have outlets in the metropolitan cities, whereas other farmers who are working in the rural Sikkim, I heard some of them can't even renew their certification. So there's that divide. Some are really making huge benefit from the organic branding, and some are clueless down there, not knowing what to do. Are you aware of this?
Yes, of course, because I have so much of from last so many years, I've observed this, like some people, but I think it also depends on from farmer to another, because it's very important to understand the mindset of a person here. Because some people, they think that they are getting exploited, but they are not, coming out of their comfort zone, and they are not trying new things, and they don't, invest much in value addition. And of course, there are the production level is low. And then because right now people has to understand that just because you say it's you have organic product, you have to understand certain things, because there are different parts of Sikkim, like east, west, north, south. In eastern part, there's you get much more value than the one growing in West Sikkim, because the market is bigger here. So so it's very difficult. You need to do a lot of research, and proper data is needed for all this thing to figure out why we are having these problems, why we are facing these issues. And besides that, of course, those who live nearby eastern part, or like accessible to the market areas and all, of course they have, and also I have, like, there are a lot of things. If like if you start to discuss point by point, then I think it will take more than a day to talk about different things, and then the why we are facing these issues, because there are so many schemes are there,
Right.
like
So just be specific.
mhm,
What would you want the government to do right now
mhm.
to benefit people like you? What is it that they are not doing? Be
No,
specific.
actually,
Yeah.
no, I will give you one very good example that
Uh,
many years back, like there is this organic mart behind this Lar market area, this what you call supermarket market building.
mhm.
It was my idea, because in the beginning we were looking for a market for the farmers, so that
Oh, 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 wow.
they can personally come anytime, even if you have 1 kilo of vegetable or whatever, they can come and sell it, because they have, all farmers are facing a lot of problems when they go directly to Lal market. They're not allowed to sell, and they have this how to say, what you call that, this Lal market, they have this their own community, and they have this what do you call that, kind of mafia, you can say, so our farmers were getting exploited. So we went, me and our president, Mr. Dichin, we went personally to meet the mayor and like different department, asking for a place, and they say, oh, okay, you find a place, then we'll we can start this market for farmers and all. And then I said, why not use this place, because it was that time it was just a open roof, nothing was there. So I gave them idea, why not use this place, and then we start a
Brilliant,
market and
brilliant.
all.
Yeah.
But then later on I found out that it was like distribute it was given to 4 different districts, east, west, north, south, which I still I didn't understand the idea why from north and west and south, it should be given to only the eastern, like farmers, like villagers, who can every Sunday they can come, that they can sell their products, like maybe 1 or 2 kgs, whatever is there. So it should be an open market. But right now you can see it has changed to something else. So sometimes I feel sad, because there's so many things that we started with a good motivation, and it ended in a very different way. So I think it's when a policy is started, then you should focus on this poor farmers, because only they are the ones who are going to be with you in future. Because of course already those who are like already doing better, if they have a outlet market or something, they're into business.
Right. I think we really need to talk to the farmers across the state and see where they are right now. If you are speaking the mind of even if 25% of the Sikkimese farmers right now, I think the state of affairs is pretty deplorable, or pretty poor, I would say. Anyway, thanks for talking as candidly as you could. I would now go to Dr. Madhu, and that would be my last question. Then I would open the floor for the attendees to ask questions. Yes, you want to say something?
I would like to say something. Yeah, you talked about this biopesticides. You were asking about this, but I would like to say something about it. Actually, it's very important for a farmer to understand how it works, in what quantity, and which like kind of crops. And the problem with all farmers is that once it starts to get infected, then only they apply. So they have to understand this timing. I think it's very important that before, the government used to provide a lot of training, like small training for different kind of how to use pesticide, organic pesticide, how to make like biopesticides, and also those kind of small programs. It's very important. So if the present government can start thinking on this, I think it's very important, because people are getting lost because they think that it's not working. Why it's fertilizer not working, why biopesticides it's not working. So it's very important to give them proper training and proper education. And
you know what, Ms. Hiringongmu Bhutia, Sikkim does need people like you. Hang on, hang on. And so continue to inspire the progressive farmers. You are not just knowledgeable about it, you are passionate about it. And knowledge and passion are very important. I'm not preaching, but I'm just sharing my what I thought about you. Dr. Madhu, is Sikkim, if you don't feel like answering the question, do feel free to refuse to answer. Is Sikkim Organic brand losing its fervor nationally? As an expert, how do you look at it after listening to one of these farmers right now, or your studies, your overall observation?
Dr. Madhu, your mic is muted. Kindly unmute. Kindly unmute.
Sorry, sorry. Yeah. So thank you for this interesting question, and listening to, of course, the passionate farmer here and the microbiologist and Mr. Yadav and Mr. Dr. Shiva, everybody. And of course, lots of conversations with Mr. Rai and a couple of other people, Mr. Ramola, many other in Sikkim state. I would say Sikkim launched its brand and declared itself as, organic state. And lots of interventions have been also made, which are required to be made, but the kind of institutional structure which is required to be matched up with the interventions to be made has not grown. It is the same old structure, institutional mechanism on which you are promoting this particular brand. So a lot of interventions are required to increase your institutional system, rather strengthen that. For example, we are doing a very huge amount of work in Madhya Pradesh state also. I just give an example of what we experienced here. Kind of the pricing aspect of it. When farmers are not able to go to the market or they don't get enough good price, why can't we have a kind of a farm gate price kind of a mechanism which Madhya Pradesh has started on an experimental basis, which is being quite successful in the experiment itself. Plus, the agricultural infrastructure fund is, I think, lacking in the state, which can promote irrigation, because irrigation is lacking in many farms where we visited, and also, of course, the road network. The cold chains, as rightly said by Dr. Yadav, that we have to strongly, promote the entire value chain, because it's not just the site of farm which makes the state organic, but the whole system makes the state organic. Unless until the farm produces light of the day and gets premium price, it is of no meaning. It's not for the sake of passion only farmer will produce. Everybody is a business entity, enterprise, and it has to work on economics should be worked on, a business model should actually work out. This is what I would have in mind. Secondly, as rightly said, I've been dealing with forestry sector for a very long time. In my past organization for 25 years, and last 3 finance commission I worked with to get compensation for contribution of forest, especially from the states like the northeastern states, where you have the policy to contain 3/4 of your area and 2/3 of area under forest and tree cover, and similarly many other states. Similarly, compensation should come to the farmers in terms of incentive-based mechanisms. When they're going organic, not just producing organic produce or organic output, but whole amount of ecosystem services also flow from the system. They need to be captured, they need to be monetized, and accordingly compensation should go to the farmers. And only you will have interest in farming, and you can fetch interest of the youth community. You can create good institutional mechanism and make this cases a very successful model in the future. Huge potential. We should not throw the baby along with the tub, which has been in many cases we have done in the past for the planning process, but that's what we said. We did SWOT analysis, and we will submit the report when we finalize it. But that will help you definitely to overcome these obstacles, these constraints, these bottlenecks. So bottlenecks, not just chicken neck problem with reaching Northeast, but within Northeast, within Sikkim, these problems exist, which can be taken care of. You have created huge amount of setup to promote organic, but little more is required to match up with the expectations, match up with the targets in terms of creating good institutional mechanisms and market mechanisms to make the whole case very successful, not just in the country, but across the globe, definitely. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. I have one question, which I'm tempted to ask Dr. Yadav, but I don't know I have time. My question is, the former chief minister laments the fact that this present government did not even mention organic farming in their present budget. Does that will that have an impact in the organic farming going forward in terms of allocating budgetary funds in the years to come, sir? Or
I'd not like to answer this.
Okay, sir. So Mr. P.D. Rai has a question.
Yes.
His question is, we have high cost to produce. How can we get better prices?
Uh,
Anyone can answer.
ultimately what happens, everything, same product can be sell at 2 rupees a kilogram also and 25 rupees a kilogram also. Ultimately, everything depends how you sell it and where you sell it. Your cost of production is high, okay. You can make a much better value-added product, put it in a nice, decent shape so that people are willing to pay the higher prices. Sikkim requires a different model of marketing. You have to work on that, and Sikkim has to work on that. And when we run a movement, it's a movement of the people, movement of the businessmen, movement of the workers. Governments.
So he has a related question to it. Then, so how do we improve our Agrotake in the state? Because most of our
I think first thing is create a lot of farmer producer organizations with good strength, so that they can have a good financial strength, working capital available at their end. They have got good processing facilities, and from there, once they have, you have to train them properly, that what type of value-added product is needed, how it is to be packed, how it is to be marketed, how it is to be. So unless that is done, I think with Mission Organic Value Chain Scheme, we tried little bit, but still there is a long way to go. I think we have not been able to reach that level, and still there is a long way to go. And we have to find out alternative strategy, because there is no one fixed formula fits all. Right. You have to have your own formula which fits best to the Sikkim conditions.
Right, absolutely.
So my personal opinion is, Sikkim has got a lot of advantage in tourism. The material what you have is majority of the commodities are not in the surplus conditions. Mm-hmm. They are meeting only the local requirements. There are only few commodities like cardamom, ginger, turmeric, or even your dalle chili also. These are the 4 commodities which you can think of it. Mm-hmm. Why don't you think of making some good value-added, nicely packed material and sell it like that? Take Sikkim with you, little bit of Sikkim. Amitabh Bachchan बोलता है ना, अपने साथ कुछ गुजरात को भी तो लेके जाइए. आप भी सिक्किम को ऐसे ही सेल करिए कि ये सिक्किम है. जब आप सिक्किम आते हैं तो अपने साथ कम से कम आधा किलो 1 किलो सिक्किम को साथ लेके जाइए, जो आपको साल भर याद दिलाएगा ऑर्गेनिक की.
So आप वहां बैठ के डल्ले चिल्ली का बात किया तो हमारा दिल सो गया. You're talking about dalle chilli is so precious for us. That means people know what we do here. There are some questions now from the audience, so please feel free to butt in and ask your questions, please.
Yeah, may I, Dr. Jeevan Rai, ask a question to Dr. Madhu Verma? See, we've been talking about the value of organic produce. And I think with the renewed focus on health and nutrition, partly due to the pandemic, with the kind of the services the organic produce provides, and Dr. Verma is an expert in that area of ecosystem services, with the kind of biodiversity that organic produce nurtures, I think there is a case for the value of the organic produce to be realized. I mean, we are still talking about subsidies, provide subsidies, reduce subsidies on chemical fertilizers, provide for organic. But in order to realize the real value of that organic produce, I just want to ask whether there are any studies available, or if not, then is there a case for the studies to be conducted, with a specific area, specific region, specific product, whichever way one can design it, to tell the whole community? Because at the end of the day, as many of the speakers said, it is a business proposition to a farmer, and farmer as an entrepreneur has to see the value of producing in one way as compared to producing in the other way. So is there a case for studies, if not already existing, Dr. Verma?
Thank you, Mr. Ravala, for a very, very useful question. Rather, that's what is the scope of work available for us for future. We scan through a lot of literature, but we do talk about in terms of agricultural sector's contribution, and now there's a new movement started from TEEB, Study for Agriculture and Food Systems. In 2018, this report was launched in India on the International Environment Day by UNEP, the Vigyan Bhavan, launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. And that's what we are executing currently in our study to understand the total contribution of agricultural systems. And now specifically coming to organic farming in Sikkim, a lot of data, we realize a lot of data is still lacking to make a case of organic farming through economic calculus, but that's what is the future scope of work we can do and demonstrate and have a control plot kind of a system where we can have a plot where a site where we are practicing organic farming, a similar site elsewhere where non-organic farming is being practiced, and then see the difference. But it will come ultimately when we start valuing, putting a price tag on it. The price tag is still, very feeble. It's not very strong in the sense that for the few products which, as rightly said in the beginning by Mr. Yadav, we have elite farmers and we have, non-elite farmers. So the question was put by Mr. Rai. Similarly, the elite farmers are able to fetch the price in the market, but not the non-elite farmers. So we have to have a calculus at the state level where we can work out the so-called the green value, the value of organic produce in true sense. And then the differential that you get right now, what you get in market right now, what should have been incorporating the value of all these ecosystem services to be the real price of organic produce in the market. So I think research is required, and we will, as a next step, we will try to do that. Right now, we want to understand the whole model in totality, and we do find huge scope available for doing this kind of work. The way we have made a case of green bonus for forest, why not make a green bonus for organic agriculture contribution as well? Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, Mr. Jeevan, I just thought I'll, there is, and I guess this is a question which leads straight from the heart of the comment made by, I think, Ms. Angmo, where she has talked about a marketplace, in the Lal market, where they have there was supposed to be an organic, a lot of stalls, but those stalls were later on, given to different kinds of people, and obviously, where there is not sufficient supply, then there will be problems of where do you get the space, and so the space for the poor farmer is actually always usurped by others. But that leads us to the heart of the question of where do you actually get the value for the farmer from? And it's very easy to say you can get it at the farm gate, but this question, I think, to Dr. Ashok Yadav, and maybe supplemented by Dr. Madhu, that how do we really then aggregate, and if suppose a particular FPO doesn't work well, or if you have some kind of aggregation systems that don't work well, should the farmer then always come to Lal market and sell his produce? Some people are doing it, and they're doing it in some ways. They're making some good money as well, but it's not something which is amenable to a practice for the long run, as in making it sustainable. So this, I think, is also comes at the heart of the way in which organic farming can be promoted. So, Dr. Yadav, your thoughts on this, because it comes in terms of a value chain. And of course, added to this, and I'll just add one more comment. Added to this is this price differential that is seen between what the farm produce comes in to, say, Lal market, a same organic, say, a vegetable, the same vegetable, would be purchased at a much, much lower price from Siliguri. And that would be cheaper, but not organic. And so that price differential starts building a case for importing that particular material or that produce.
You know, Dr. I think Sikkim actually is a very peculiar situation. You have maybe 6 to 7, 8 lakh population and receiving almost 3 times of your population as the tourists. And the overall productivity, Sikkim has to import a lot of food material, mainly to cater to the tourists from outside also. And when you have to bring in from outside, then naturally non-organic food will come at much cheaper prices where it has been grown in bulk. And your own produce becomes costlier for that. I think what can we can think of it, some diversification and production system. We have been doing the same traditional farming systems. We have become organic. Now, if some farmer producer organizations, some farmers, they are able to sell their conventional produce, or you can say traditional produce, under organic certification also at good prices, it's good. But for the others, if we can think of having some diversification of the crops, like which have much better potential of selling it outside, maybe in the small volumes. Medicinal plants, herbal plants, these are some of the areas where you can think of even flowers. These are the areas where we need that some modification can be done. Another thing is that like honey. Honey can also be one of the areas where Sikkim has got a lot of potential. In India, it's only the Sikkim which can produce the organic honey. Otherwise, all other country, whatever is selling as organic honey, it's basically the wild honey, which is collected from the wild forests. So if you have to create apiary sector also, I think that also can be. So the nutshell in saying is that Sikkim need value addition, Sikkim need the value chains, Sikkim also need the diversification of some of the cropping systems away from your traditional crops, which you can aggregate and sell it outside. New crops will require a new marketing strategy. Older crops, even if farmer wanted to sell it outside, they normally end up into the old traditional system of marketing and finally not benefiting the farmer. So some I think new thinking, out of box thinking, new innovations need to be brought in. And I think then only we will be able to help our farmers to keep their economics running. And I am very sure if we make organic farming in Sikkim as a business model, as an economic activity, it will continue irrespective of the government supports are there or not. But if we are not able to make it an economical case for the farmer, for the organic, then it will be very difficult to sustain. Dr. Madhu, would you like to add?
Yeah, surely. In fact, as Roshanji was saying, Jeevanji was saying, I have a lot of information with me. Yes, we did receive these kinds of inputs, feedback from stakeholders that we have met. I must make a mention of a very enterprising agri-entrepreneur which we have met in Sikkim. And you're rightly saying about diversification of crops is one of the ways of promoting Sikkim's organic farming across the country, across the globe. So right now the policy focuses only on 5 crops. And of course, wild honey is also on our list that people suggested can be taken care of. We came across a very interesting agri-entrepreneur who is promoting cultivating yakun, which is sort of fiber which is being brought about from Peru to this country, and its juice, its used in many ways in cuisines, is getting very popular across the state. In fact, he's selling this its outputs in Hyderabad amongst the so-called software companies guy, because it's supposed to be very rich in nutrients, energizing, and these properties are definitely there for that. This is what needs to be taken care of. Floriculture seems to be another good option for Sikkim in terms of promoting orchids over there, and definitely can be taken care of. Another thing I would like to mention is, Mr. Rai rightly said, when we provided a marketplace for farmers. It was just a marketplace. I would say, I will take example of Sundar Nursery in Delhi, where I live now. And I was very surprised to see there's a typical organic farmers market is being organized. Only organic farmers participate in that, who are growing these organic crops, which are certified, are participating in this market. So I asked one of the farmers who was from Punjab, and he was selling products from Rajasthan, from Noida, from Gurgaon, Haryana, Punjab, definitely. Well, all organic certified products. He showed us the certificate as well. I said, why don't you bring products from Sikkim? Because such very unique products are being created, produced, which is Sikkim has got, forte. He says, कि madam, the whole पूरी states organic है. हमको farmer का certificate अलग से नहीं दिखा पाते हैं वो लोग, इसलिए उनकी crop नहीं ला पाते हैं. So I think this is what requires to be done. If individual certification can be provided to these farmers, and definitely making a case of, again, the way we made for green bonus for forestry sector, we can do something for farmers who are producing organic, not just crop, but many more things in the calculus which exists. Crop is a very small component in the entire calculus. Rather, the services which Sikkim provides, being organic to the rest of the country, is huge. That also needs to be captured. That's what it will actually provide much more benefit to the state as compared to what we are getting right now. So that's what has been our understanding, knowledge, and learnings from that. And one more thing I just want to also mention, which has been a kind of a flagged area of the recent Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform for Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, in which we wrote a chapter on nature's contribution to people. Like we technically call contribution as ecosystem services, but this term captures better the contribution of nature to the people. So and also the indigenous knowledge systems. Like Sikkim is facing, we have been to a couple of farms, and Mr. Rai also explained to us how the cardamom crop is facing problem. Ants are eating up the roots, and they're creating lots of stuff like that. And we met another group of female farmers. They said, madam, we have to keep our soil wet such that ants can go away. And this is a small solution, and lots of other such knowledge exists with the farmers, the indigenous local knowledge, which needs to be captured, because they've been traditionally practicing these, and we're successfully doing that for themselves, definitely. But if you want to scale up this thing, these kinds of support systems should be created, and knowledge should be disseminated across other farmers, such that with very cost-effective measures, things can be taken care of, and then you get much better returns, and ultimately internalizing all these, you are able to double so-called farmers' income in future. Thank you, sir.
I think it's time to wrap it up. But in the end, I must say that from getting to hear Dr. Madam Shiva live to getting to hear Dr. Madhu and Dr. Yadav and our own young Dr. Ongmo, then our farmer, Miss Chiring Ongmo, it was a great, wonderful, significant day, I would say. Yes, we can definitely take time to digest whatever we've heard today, and also disseminate the message to the right places of policymakers, the places where our farmers toil, and so on. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for your valuable inputs. I would say goodbye from here and hand over the proceedings to
everybody. My regards to PD Rai, sir.
Yeah, we still have another session.
Yeah.
We still continue the session. We are not yet done.
Yeah.
So Bandana.
Okay, thank you, Jeevan sir, for moderating, and respected panelists for wonderful discussion. Now we have Sri Susil Ramola, who is the immediate past president of Integrated Mountain Initiative, which has been working for a decade in Indian Himalayan regional states as a platform connecting diverse stakeholders around the complex issues of climate change, livelihoods, disaster and sustainable habitats, and enabling integrated solutions. IMI work through a volunteer network of state chapters, institutional and individual members. He is also a social entrepreneur and founded and integrated Rural Tourism Initiative, Due North Eco Ventures in his village Saur, Uttarakhand for village rejuvenation through community involvement in tourism, arts and craft. In 2009, he founded and is chairman of Be Able, the first ever partner of National Skills Development Corporation, which has so far provided skills and meaningful livelihoods to over 4 lakh youth in 26 states of India. Sushil Ramola has over 30 years previous experience in leading innovation and system-driven business organization in India, USA and Middle East in industry and service sectors. So now I would like to request Sir to give the closing remark of today's webinar.
Thank you, Vandana. It's great to be here on the Sikkim Organic Day. My background essentially in Sikkim is that at one point of time, the organization I founded, Be Able, ran about 20 livelihood schools. They were essentially integrated skill building systems, and out of those, about 10 were in the agriculture sector, and all of them touched upon organic farming. And as was mentioned, I come from the mountains. My larger family still is related to agriculture, and I'm not an expert in organic farming, so probably that gives me some ability to summarize this very, very diverse set of views and from the experts. So the experts have spoken, and I would like to give my closing summary in 3-4 quick sections. One is talking about Sikkim, what has worked, and what has came out from various discussions. Secondly, what are the enabling concepts behind organic farming? What would enable it, and what will take it forward? What will transform it further? Since the panel discussion was on challenges and way forward, I'll talk about challenges third, and also the solutions and way forward. So very quickly, let me talk about the Sikkim story of around 20 years, which I think what has worked for Sikkim in the past is it's a small state. And this is a summary of what came out from all the speakers. It's homogeneous, and to a large extent, when it started, it was a virgin territory, and it didn't have to do anything. It was not doing much non-organic, so it was a good start. It is agri-dominant. It is progressive. I think the continuity of the earlier party and the chief minister kept the momentum alive, and it also made an effort to integrate with other things like tourism and so on and so forth. So that has worked in the past, but alongside it, the challenges have cropped up. As one of the panelists, Ms. Shering Ongmu, talked about that, the political disruption should not change this, something which has been created over a long period of time. So it has to rise above the political parties. There is a challenge of scale because Sikkim is a small state. So how can some of the practices where Sikkim has led in the past be transformed at least to the northeastern region, because there is homogeneity there? From agriculture, how can we move to a more integrated approach? Mr. Yadav talked about a green economy in general, which includes tourism, which includes alternative energy, which includes animal husbandry, which includes a best utilization of land, water, air, resources. How does it move from there? And how does it build a differentiation? How does it build a brand through more work, more research, and so on and so forth? So those are the challenges for Sikkim. But so that's what I sense is happening. But the enabling concepts, let me step a little backwards and talk about the enabling concepts for what the organic movement has been talked about. And Dr. Vandana Shiva referred to it for a large thing. I think there's something called green revolution happened to India which at that point of time, considering the crisis, probably was required. But the nature does not create revolutions. Nature doesn't like revolutions. Nature, in fact, is evolutionary. Nature prefers evolutions. So therefore, I think we came to a situation where we were working against nature versus nature. We need to now move to working with nature. You know, just to illustrate this point, I think you can improve your health short term by being on steroids. But in the long run, your health will suffer if you continue to be on that. So what is the long-term health of our soil, of our people, of our earth? I think that's what organic does. I think that's something is an enabling thought, an enabling mindset. And with the new research that has been happening, and one of the speakers talked about the microbes and microorganisms. I think the whole world of microorganisms, whether it's fungi, whether it's the bacteria, they constitute a part of this. So the human beings cannot adopt an approach where they are the exploiters of the rest of the species. They have to realize that, with humility, that they are a part of this very small part of this ecosystem. So that's something. That's the number one enabling concept. The second enabling concept, which I understood from these discussions, is that we have to create a symbiotic world. We have to create a mindset, as Dr. Vandana Shiva put it. The farmers are today's pharmacists. They are today's physicians. Because if they can produce nutritious food, they can produce the food which builds biodiversity, which creates one health among the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the human beings. That's the mindset. That's how we need to treat our farmers. They are not the self-employed people who are suffering not only the vagaries of the climate or the climate change, but also the vagaries of the price mechanisms and so on and so forth. So they need to be given that place. So that symbiosis is something that we need to understand. Health integration into this is very, very important. And the other species integration is very important. And a part of this symbiotic understanding also is the circularity. I think we are living in a circular economy and a circular world. And therefore, I think we can create a virtuous cycle or we can create a vicious cycle. If we misuse our land, water, air, and soil resources, land which is a part of the land systems, we are likely to see catastrophes. And part of that is already unfolding before us. So that is the symbiotic mindset is the second point we need to take away from here. And the third, of course, coming to the solutions, we need to create integrated approaches. The farming is not only a crop. The farm is an ecosystem. The soil is an ecosystem, as I said, and therefore integrating with the tourism and farming, for example, is one aspect of it. Integrating across the stakeholders is another aspect of it. That there is a government which has to play a role. There is communities which have to play a role. There are producers which have to play a role. There are channels which have to play a role, and the researchers have to play a role, and the customers have to play a role, because we cannot have the good thing. We cannot expect that we'll continue to get good product, organic product, at the same price or a lower prices, just because the farmers do not have the power to dictate those prices. So that integration is absolutely necessary. That integration, not only that across that part, but integration also of, as I said, of the economics, environment, and social dimensions. Because some of the things which are happening today, the challenges which are happening today, the unemployment, the environmental degradations, the social structures, in terms of migration, in terms of youth not being interested in farming, and the health challenges. I think those are there because many of these things which I mentioned, these three enabling factors, whether it's that approach of evolutionary approach of the nature, the symbiotic approach, and the integrated approaches, they are missing. So in order to move forward, we need to bring them center stage. And there is need, therefore, to talk to the stakeholders who have probably the longest stake in this, and is the youth, and bring them back into farming in a large way. And in my view, the entrepreneurs have better understanding of the technologies. They have better understanding of what we are going through, because whatever is happening to us today has been happening to us in the last 20 years or last 2 years. They suffer the impacts of that for a longer period. So, and they probably will understand this one world and one health approach a little better. So we do need those approaches, the thing. So moving very quickly to the last part of my talk, what I would like to say is that the way forward for us is in terms of creating this new awareness. A lot has changed. So, and applying it to Sikkim, I think new awareness has to move from the folk to the farm in terms of understanding what a human being needs in terms of nutrition and good food, healthy food, and create that awareness from that. It has to set up new goals. I think that those goals have to be integrated with sustainable development goals. And then it has to lead to the third stage of new policies. I think Sikkim has been thinking about this, and I'm aware that they talked of the Well-Being of Future Generations Act, which talked about sustainable development goals and integrating the entire systems from departmental approach to an integrated approach, a multi-sectoral approach. That is something that is required. So those policies have to be developed and plans have to be developed, which talk about value addition. That look at the entire value chain of from the farming to the ultimately the processing and ultimately packaging and so on and so forth, which was mentioned by Mr. Yadav as well, and ultimately to leading to the thing. And it has to be new policy. So that is the third step. But the fourth step, which is where the rubber meets the road, it has to be at the local level. I think whether it's the local market, whether it's the local entrepreneur, whether it's and they have to, their capabilities have to be built. They have to be provided the right capital. They have to be provided market linkages, access to the customer, the right channel, sometimes digital commerce, and the right cost and right communication, the building. Then only can, I think, a scale which is required for sustainability is built. Then only can we get our institutions. The scale will enable institutions to be built, the quality and certification to be built, and we can create a brand through all these, which can become not only a Sikkim brand, but also a national brand or a global brand. And therefore, that is the chain of action, in my view, which has to be unfolding in the coming years. And so there is a lot to do. And hopefully, if we are able to take this chain, this leads to that virtuous cycle I'm talking about, that will create new knowledge and create new capabilities and will create new products and markets, which will sustain this movement, which in my view is the movement not only for the well-being of the humans, but the well-being of the earth, because all these, as we said, we live in an interconnected world. There's a long way to go, and I would like to thank the organizers for taking this step to remind ourselves that there's a lot to be done, especially in the current situation, and that momentum cannot be lost. We cannot afford to lose that. So this is how I would like to summarize this discussion, which has been very, very useful, and I think it it gives us a lot of thoughts for moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Sri D.N. Sapkota, former chairman, Farmers Welfare Board, as well as our senior leader of SDF party to launch the Organic Mission Cell SDF party. Sir, are you there?
He has to unmute himself.
Yeah, you're muted, Mr. Zapkota. Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Are you all listening? Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes,
sir,
yes.
we can hear
Please
you.
go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Today is a golden day for Sikkim to organize and celebrate this organic day. And we have achieved. Complete farmers of Sikkim did this marvelous job, so that we are now enjoying this organic day today. And I would like to thank all the farmers of Sikkim that their hard work of 13 years has come up with the flying colors of success in 2016, 18 January 2016. Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, he inaugurated our function and declared Sikkim as the first organic state of the India. So now we are continuing working on the farming community, and there are some certain shortcomings also during the process of our work. But even then, our work is continuous. And we are facing some problem also, but we are avoiding that problems and continuing with certain difficulties. Anyhow, the concept of our former Chief Minister, our party president, Honorable Shri Pawan Kumar Chamling, he thought and he gave this vision to the Sikkimese farmer, and we work hard. Our departmental officers work hard. Our political leaders work hard, and complete our farmers. They work for 13 years to make our Sikkim an organic state. And it is a great pleasure that being a small state of India, we could do it. And for this success, all the people of Sikkim are thankful. I must say they are thankful. And we are encouraged from the our nearby states also about our work, and our farmers are giving training to the other states also. Now, as our leader says, that our farmer can be the Vishwa Guru. Really, some of our farmers, they are giving training to the outside also, those who are working in the organic farming. So I would like to thank all the panel people, and I also learned many things from you all, from your discussion about very good knowledge and how it can be sustained and what are the shortcomings. So for such things, we must say that our Sikkim is continuously working on this, but we are facing some problem also now, because that problem has to be sorted out, because as our previous government was continuously initiating the farmers, giving training time and again, but such thing is not happening in this government. And I think this is the great pleasure of the state, that our government also should do like the previous government did. So I'm not talking about anything differences, but there are certain differences in the training also. Our farmers are not getting such type of training, that training which we faced earlier, which we got earlier through our government. And we got the good policies, and on that good policies, farmers were educated, farmers were given training, farmers were well trained by the departmental officers also. So such thing is not going these days, and this is to be avoided. And for a better Sikkim, we are all equal, and being equal people of Sikkim, we must not distinguish anything about on the process of this organic farming. Now, today, I, as Senior Vice President of the Organic Cell of this SDF party, would like to launch some research cell in our function in the organic farming, because there are certain geographical areas which are to be found properly, so that our product of the farmers would go up. And we can use simultaneously all the land. That is to be a matter of serious research work. So from today onwards, our party president is very much keen on this. So we'll have some research or work also in our field, so that the output of this research will be the resources of our economic, of our farmers. And I must thank to the government, previous government, and I must request to the present government, this process is to be continued, and our good name of Sikkim across world is to be always continue the same. And we are all same, so our Sikkim is common to all, so that all the tourists, whosoever they come in Sikkim, they must enjoy our organic estate, and flocks of tourists would come, and they will make us very much attractive through our work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, as we came to end of today's program, I would like to call Mr. Lakshman Bhattrai, Vice President in charge East District SDF Party, to give vote of thanks.
Namaskar and very good evening. र आज हामी सबै सिक्किमवासी भारतवर्षमा थाहा कुरा हो, आजको 6 वर्ष अगाडि अर्ग्यानिक स्टेट भारतका प्रधानमन्त्री महोदयले घोषणा गर्नुभएको हो। यो हाम्रो लागि सबैको लागि गर्वको कुरा छ र गर्वको कुरा थियो पनि। अनि आज यसरी हामीले आजको दिनमा यो सिक्किम अर्ग्यानिक हामीले वेबिनार एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण वेबिनारमा डिस्कसन डेलिभरेसन यसको लागि हामी अत्यन्त खुसी छौँ। र आज सबै जति अर्गनाइज गर्नुभयो र जतिजना पार्टिसिपेट गर्नुभयो उहाँहरूको लागि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। त्यसै गरेर सर्वप्रथम म जुन यो एसटिएफ पार्टी अथवा एसटिएफ पार्टी अर्गनाइज गरेको यो वेबिनारमा हाम्रो अति आदरणीय माननीय पार्टी प्रेसिडेन्ट एवं फर्मर चिफ मिनिस्टर पवन चामलिङ साहबलाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु र जसको भिजनले गर्दा आज विश्वमा एउटा नयाँ आइडिया, नयाँ इनोभेसन, नयाँ कुरामा अगाडि बढिरहेको छ। उहाँको अथक प्रयास र उहाँले हामीलाई गाइडेन्स र हामीलाई इन्करेजमेन्ट दिनुभयो र लागि उहाँलाई सर्वप्रथम धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु तर्फबाट। र आज अघि हामी माझमा स्पिकर डाक्टर वन्दना शिवा, उहाँको हामी सबैले सुन्नु पायौँ, उहाँको मैले भन्नु पर्दैन, तपाईँहरू सबैले सुनिसक्नुभयो। विशेष रूपले उहाँले आज जुन किनोट स्पिकर भएर एउटा हामी कुरा राख्नुभयो, उहाँलाई पार्टीको तर्फबाट र अर्गनाइजेसनबाट आभार एवं धेरै ग्रेटिट्युड र धन्यवाद भन्न चाहन्छु। विशेष गरेर हामी माझमा सबै हामीलाई इन्करेज गर्नुहुने हाम्रो एसटिएफ पार्टीको सिनियर भाइस प्रेसिडेन्ट एवं सिक्किमको फर्मर एमपी श्री राई सर, उहाँलाई पनि धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। केटी ग्याल्सन सर जो फर्मर मिनिस्टर हुनुहुन्छ र हाम्रो पार्टीको सिनियर भाइस प्रेसिडेन्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेसन हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँलाई पनि आजको यो प्रोग्राममा यो वेबिनारमा धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद एवं आभार गर्न चाहन्छु। त्यसै गरेर हामीसँग आज विषय स्टिम प्यानलिस्टहरू हुनुहुन्थ्यो, उहाँहरूलाई पनि मैले धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। डाक्टर मधु वर्मा जो चिफ इकोनोमिस्ट वर्ल्ड रिसोर्सेस इन्स्टिट्युटमा इन्डियामा हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँले आज आफ्नो महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा राखिदिनु भयो र उहाँलाई पनि आज विशेष रूपले उहाँको योगदान र उहाँको सहयोग र उहाँको ध्यान दिएर आज हामी सबै हामीले धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। यसै गरेर डाक्टर अक्षय डिरेक्टर नेसनल सेन्टर फर अर्ग्यानिक फार्मिङ हुनुहुन्थ्यो र मिनिस्ट्री अफ एग्रिकल्चरमा, उहाँलाई पनि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद, आन्तरिक धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। त्यसै गरेर हामी माझमा सिक्किमको डाक्टर मिराङमु भोटिया जो फुड माइक्रोबायोलोजिस्ट र गेस्ट फ्याकल्टी सिक्किम युनिभर्सिटीमा हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँलाई पनि हाम्रो आजको समितिको तर्फबाट यो वेबिनारमा धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। र यसै गरेर हामीसँग म्याडम छिरिङ अङ्मु हामीसँग हुनुहुन्थ्यो, उहाँ एकजना फार्मर र जेनरल सेक्रेटरी फार्मर्स प्रोड्युसर अर्गनाइजेसनको हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँलाई पनि हाम्रो अर्गनाइजेसन तर्फबाट यो वेबिनारमा धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। त्यसै गरेर क्लोजिङ रिमार्क्स दिनुहुने मिस्टर सुशील रमोला जो इन्टिग्रेटेड माउन्टेन इनिसिएटिभको प्रेसिडेन्ट, उहाँलाई पनि हाम्रो तर्फबाट धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। त्यसै गरेर यो प्यानललाई मोडरेट गरिदिनुहुने रिनाउन अथर कलमिस्ट रेस्पेक्टेड जीवन राई सरलाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। यसै गरेर हामी माझमा डिएन सापकोटा सर जो फर्मर चेयरम्यान फार्मर्स गभर्मेन्टमा हुनुहुन्थ्यो र अहिले हाम्रोमा सिनियर भाइस प्रेसिडेन्ट फ्रन्टमा हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँलाई पनि धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। त्यसै गरेर श्री भाइस प्रेसिडेन्ट फार्मर्स फन्डमा हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँ पनि धेरैदेखि यो प्रोग्रामको लागि जोड्नुभयो, उहाँलाई पनि हामी आभार व्यक्त गर्न चाहन्छौँ, धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। र यसै गरेर आज जुन यो प्रोग्रामलाई कोअर्डिनेट गरिदिनुभयो, एन्ट्री गरिदिनुभयो, यो यङ्गेस्ट स्पोक पर्सन मिस वन्दना शर्मा पार्टीको स्पोक पर्सन हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँलाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। अनि जति पनि यो टेक्निकल कुराहरूमा सपोर्ट दिनुहुने म्याडम कोमल चामलिङ, म्याडम वर्षा राई, भिडियोज जति पनि रिलिज भयो त्यसमा पब्लिकेसनको टिमहरूलाई जो प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूपमा इन्भल्भ हुनुभयो, उहाँहरूलाई पनि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। त्यसै गरेर हामीले यो प्रोग्राम फिल्डमा जाने अगाडिबाट निर्णय गरेको छ, हुने पनि जति पनि फार्मर साथीहरू हुनुहुन्थ्यो, पार्टी कार्यकर्ता हुनुहुन्थ्यो, हामी धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छौँ। त्यसै गरेर पार्टीको सबै सिनियर प्रेसिडेन्ट, भाइस प्रेसिडेन्टहरू, जेनरल सेक्रेटरीहरू, कार्य जिल्लाका डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रेसिडेन्ट, कन्भेनर्स सबै र हाम्रो कन्स्टिट्युन्सी लेभलको सिएलसी, पिएलसी सबै लेभलको हाम्रो कार्यकर्तागणहरूलाई र हामीलाई लाइभ अथवा जुममा गएर हामीलाई हेरिदिने सबै दर्शक श्रोताहरूलाई फेरि एकपल्ट मैले कसैलाई छोडेँ भने पनि सबैलाई एकमुष्टमा धन्यवाद। फेरि अन्तमा तपाईँहरू सबैलाई ग्र्याटिट्युड, धन्यवाद र आभार प्रकट गर्न चाहन्छु। थ्याङ्क यू।
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Verma. Thank you, Mr. Galson. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
everyone.
everybody. It's been a wonderful
Have a good evening.
webinar. Thank you very much for supporting this webinar. All panelists and all those who joined us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.